Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today at Voice Global 2020. Today's talk is all about beating the job search game by following a career path. My name is Galina Fendikevich and I'm a co-founder and CTO of Beame, a career navigation app that illuminates a new path for you to help bring any job within reach. It's kind of like Ways for Careers with turn-by-turn direction. Although we at Beame are working on the smart way of doing this, I'll be walking you through on how you can design your career path in voice. So let's dive right in. The first concept to wrap around is the idea of a career path. So instead of thinking of that next job, you want to think about all the other jobs that will get you to where you want to be. But first, you want to figure out where you want to be. So the most important part is to identify, and it doesn't have to be super specific. It could be a middle management or a high management position, or just a job that's a few away from where you are now. Either way, you've got to have a goal if you're going to do this smart. The idea is for you to only job search once. You want to find all of the jobs that lead you up to where you want to be, and then you won't have to job search again. Because job searching really sucks. I don't know about you guys, but I've been in that position many times. And I'm Google searching and LinkedIn searching, and it leads me to submitting many applications, most of which kind of don't get responses. But when I'm job searching, especially when I wanted to navigate into a technology-focused career, I tended to apply for any job that sounded relatively good, that I was kind of qualified for, and applied, and cross my fingers and hope that I would get a call back. And then I would think, okay, then in the interview, I can showcase how great I am, and then I actually know my stuff. So that can work to a certain extent, the whole researching and hoping for. But what we want to do is we actually want to plan ahead to prevent us from repeating this process. Because whether you're at the beginning of your career, middle of your career, or end of your career, you're going to go back to that square one of sitting down at your computer and then starting the entire search over again. And we kind of don't want to do that. Even if you're on a current path and you're not too crazy about it, you can always turn into a different one. But we don't want you to start from the beginning because that's really time consuming and not fun at all. So I'm going to start with fresh graduates / early career, move on to mid-career, and then go to the end of the career. When you're in the beginning of your career, the world is your oyster. You have way too many options and way too many people telling you what to do, where you should go, where you shouldn't go, which industry, which role. It can get pretty overwhelming. And then you don't know if you actually want to go a certain route. There are too many choices. Maybe you're into one area one day and then another area the next day. You just don't know. But the thing is, you have to start somewhere. And you have to do your research and you have to figure out what your qualifications are already, match them up to where you want to go, roughly, and then find something in between that will satisfy your A, need to get a job, and B, your career happiness. So when you first start looking for that job, obviously do your research, ask around, see what people think, ask what their jobs are like. You have at your fingertips the world's greatest resume list, and that's LinkedIn. You can see people's profiles even if you're not friends. But other than that, you should have been building your network while you were in college already. That's one of the tips that your professors usually tell you. So you're able to see other people's career paths. You're able to see where it leads. You get a firsthand look on what the job requires, what those skills are, and whether they're happy in those or not. Do they leave the job soon after they started? What did they like about it? What didn't they like about it? You can glean that from everyone's profile. You want to get to the top, or you want to get to a position where you're growing, and then check out their careers and take a few profiles, see where they've been, see what they've done. Put it all together and see where the overlaps are. The types of jobs, it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact job title, but within voice marketing, for example, what types of services, whether that's voice marketing on assistants or creating voice campaigns in social media or print or digital, whatever it might be, you still want to see where in the conglomerate they are in the little pockets and then build a career path. So If somebody is a senior in voice marketing, see where all of those roles that they took before it came. They're not going to always have voice roles, but that's okay because voice hasn't been around for that long, and all of the newest jobs in voice have come about only the past few years. We can still see what type of marketing jobs they did take in order to go for the ones that will help you get to the positions that they are in eventually. So once you have that, create that path. It's going to have a few jobs in each level, but you want to give yourself 5 total levels. And that's for any position and any path that you create. You want the entry level, you want the experienced, then the first level management, second level management, and then senior C-suite management. So if you just remember 5 levels, then you'll see that any job is within reach. Some people have more jobs in between, some people have less. Everybody's experience is different. But you want to create a sketch of these jobs, with this list of jobs, going in consecutive order to get to where you want to go. And then you apply for those jobs in that order. You apply for them through LinkedIn, use recruiters. The LinkedIn platform is an amazing resource for recruiters, and they use it a lot because LinkedIn has built out a great product for them. So take advantage, connect with those recruiters, make sure your LinkedIn profile has all of the good keywords. Then you're done with that first initial job search. You should start on that path. As soon as you get that job, you have a visual of where you're going to go for the rest of your career. If you don't like where you landed yourself in that initial job, then you can turn that path. Don't start all over, but you can continue to do the process, reiterate, and then just adjust the path. And you're going to find that a lot of people started on a similar path and then they turned into a different one, and then maybe they turned back. But either way, you're always going up, and it's always possible to start in one place and end somewhere different. If you're middle of your career, the same apply, except you're not starting from the beginning. You've got some experience under your belt. You've got some skills that you can greatly leverage. You've got skills that you can use to make your case for a new voice position or a new voice job because that job most likely has just been created. And you have greater visibility on how your skills are going to help you in those higher level positions. You also have a good view of what is that gap of skills that you need in order to reach that higher level position. But again, this is the manual part. It takes research. It takes not only reading articles, but looking at other people's profiles, learning about the skills that they have, not only searching on people's profiles, but also reading articles on the top skills for that job and the top skills for that industry, top skills on any of the learning platforms. You have a great advantage in the fact you know where you started, you've got that under your belt, and you can easily turn it into, this is the body of work I've done so far. It's going to take a small tweak, and I'm already doing it with these skills by learning online, by working on the side project, creating something to showcase your skill into this new skill that you need to fulfill this position. So you have a great argument, and you just need to be able to pinpoint what those skills are, pinpoint what that job is, and then go for it. And if you're end of your career, then that is the greatest advantage you have because you have that expertise. And now you can take that entire expertise, lift it, and put it into a new voice position, put it into a new voice job, and you can showcase how valuable you are in that. You're bringing that knowledge. Wisdom is not quantifiable. And business intuitiveness is not quantifiable. And you have that. Because you are already going through the same process as the new grads in pinpointing that gap between where you want to be and where you are now, you can easily go for the jobs which might be only 2 away from that absolute top job that you want before you retire or as a last career move. You only might be 2 jobs. That first job to really hone into your new skills, and then that last job where you can apply and have your last career hurrah. So at any stage that you're in, you should be continuously doing this evaluating process. Am I on the right track? Am I happy where I am on this career path? And if you're not, then again, change it. But you should not be starting from square one every time you need a job. You should not be job searching and applying to everything. You should not be trying to find a different path at every single job because you're going to end up with a scattered amount of jobs and there's not going to be any cohesiveness in your career journey. And at the end of the day, you're going to see that you tried a whole lot of things but didn't find anything that you actually like. It takes a bit of analysis, it takes a bit of skills learning that you need, but at the end of the day, you should have a career path. And then that'll give you peace of mind because you know where you're going and you're happy on the path that you are once you find it. And you'll always have that path that you can refer to in case you're ever unsure of what comes next or if you want what comes next. You come back and then just a small tweak and you're on a different path or you're on a new path. And this is such a doable method. And this is a body of work that will stay with you throughout your career. As soon as you have your path, and then you hear tidbits from other people on other roles or other industries or whatever it might be, you keep feeding it into your own career path engine. And then once you're ready to make that next big decision in your life, you have the resources, you have the knowledge to back you up to make the best decision possible for yourself. For recent grads and professionals with a couple of years under their belt, your career paths will go through bigger changes because you have a lot of options and you'll be curious to explore them. Your main skills come from college classes and internships. Although you'll probably redirect, pick one top position that you could see yourself in, whether it's in the C-suite or not, whichever level you find success in. Let's use an example of a senior voice solution engineer in a financial services company. Through research, we find that it's a second-level management position within financial services. Analyzing various career paths led us to build our own career path, starting as a software engineer, then going on to a security analyst, moving on to a solution architect, before finally reaching that senior level position. From further research, you can find the skills for each of those positions. For a software engineer, you might need skills such as NLP and JavaScript. And then you'll find that for a security analyst, you'll need Linux and some penetration software knowledge. Then when you want to move on to be a solution architect, you'll need architecture and cloud skills as well. Now you have the next few years to gain those skills and make sure you're prepared for that very next job, which you already have right in front of you. So the idea of the career path, figure out where you want to be, that top level position, and do your research on all of the jobs in between. So if you want to be a senior voice designer, for instance, find a few people on LinkedIn, a great tool to see other people's career paths that they've taken, because career paths are not linear these days. Think about it. A few decades ago, you were pretty much all set. You got into a company, you knew where you're going. You might switch a company or two, but more likely, once you got in, you just worked your way up the ladder. Nowadays, it's not the same thing. Nowadays, you have so many options out there, and frankly, you kind of want to take them all because you don't know what you're going to like more or the other. You have to take them because you can only do so much online review reading before you realize whether that's the job for you or not. Let's take a look at an example of a career path for someone in the middle of their career. Let's say the sample path will lead to a senior position in conversational design. Because this person is middle in their career, they don't have as many steps to go before reaching that senior level position. So their very next position might be a senior UX designer and then a creative director before they get to that manager level position. Right next to the positions, you can see the skills. Again, with additional research, to be a senior UX designer, you'll need UX UI skills, maybe some chatbot design and technical writing. And then as you're ready for the next level to be a creative director, you'll need creative writing, AWS skills, and product management, which again can always be found on online courses or if you choose to go back to school. You have a body of experience and skills over the past few years that you now need to package to move into the next area. Starting from that top position, you don't have that many steps to work backwards before hitting your current position. Again, only 2 or 3 steps. Chances are you have most of the skills for the next job in line and are on your way to fulfilling the remaining ones. If you're still lacking, you can make up by taking online courses. Your story is easier to convey since you have plenty of examples of thinking creatively, solving problems, working on tough projects, and working within technology. You can prove that you'll add value and expertise when moving into a voice tech role. All it takes is refining those skills and making your case. See where that path is going to go first. What are all the jobs in between? What are the jobs that other people have taken that have gotten them to that point? You're not going to get a clear-cut answer. So you need to take a few people's profiles. You need to take a few people's experiences, the jobs they've taken, the companies they've been at, the size of the companies they've been at, the types of companies as well, and then aggregate all of those results to kind of come up with a picture of a graph where you can say for sure, all right, if I want to be a senior voice designer, I should take these steps or these jobs that are related to this one that I have mapped out because that's what a lot of these people that I've researched have done, and they have become senior voice designers. So that's the first step. Then, not only the jobs, you need the skills. This is kind of a twofold area. Online courses and online learning are super helpful, and I'm a big advocate of them, mainly because you don't have to go into a lot of debt in order to get another degree in another field that you, again, might or might not switch out of. So there are a lot of free options. There's edX, Udacity, Coursera. One of my favorites is Udacity for more AI ML stuff. But you can take a specialization course ranging in time. So whether it's a short course or a long course, whatever your time commitment is, you can at least do something. You can at least upskill yourself. And make sure that that course has a project at the end so you can show that you created something out of it. More on the courses and skills later that you need. The company size and the culture are important and should be the next things on your list. So do you want a big company or do you want a small company? Or maybe something in between? Do you want more structure in a big company or do you want things to go with the flow in a smaller company? Or do you kind of want a mix of both worlds? Whatever it is, you should figure out what size company. If you're middle or towards the end of your career, you have a pretty good idea of what kind of company you want to be in. If you're at the beginning of your career, I would say go for the mid-sized company because you want some structure in your work, but you also want the freedom to have some creative abilities. Then you need to source experiences. This is a little bit of a technical term, but what it basically means is you need to do informal interviews with people, and you need to ask them totally nonchalant what their experiences are, what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it. Don't make it sound like an informal interview. In fact, everyone you meet, you kind of informal interview. You basically ask them for a quick resume of who they are, where they've been, what do they know. So make sure you ask the right questions. Make sure you pinpoint the ones where you can get a quick snapshot of, is this a person that I want to keep questioning about on their experiences because I might want to follow suit? Or is this a person that doesn't really play into what I want to do, but I could use the information if I decide to navigate into a different career path? And then upskilling through online learning. In the last point is again, take those courses, use that information. It's so easy. You can take a 1-hour tutorial for a programming language, or you could do a 6-month course and anywhere in between. But the information is out there and you should upskill yourselves and you should be learning something new every single day because it's moving fast. And especially if you want that top position, you have to start working on those skills gradually. Companies are posting job descriptions for voice designers, and that didn't exist a few years ago. So you have the benefit to say what a voice designer should be and what they shouldn't be, especially if you're trying to move into a different role. So your dream job, you have that in mind. First off is to have the product awareness. This is zeroing in on, now, if you want to be a voice designer, what kind of product is the company building and for which type of clients. You want to zero in on the type of voice experience that they're creating because that ties into the skills that you'll need. Different experiences and different products have different types of skills. So you want to be aware of the relatively the types of products. If it's an assistant or if it's a B2B product, you want to know for sure what kind you're heading towards. Then I like to do something called a project manager test. If you are a project manager, what job would you give yourself? Take a minute and think it through. If you're giving yourself a job that you're not too excited about and you kind of want the job that you would have given someone else, then that's a point right there to start into searching the career path that you want to take. Or if it's a job that you would give yourself, but you kind of know you're not qualified, you have a starting point for which skills that you need to work on. However, you also want to leverage your know-how. All of you are professionals and you already have some experience. You need to be able to package that in a way that puts it into the next role and puts it into the voice role and says, I don't have direct voice experience. It's new. But I'm able to do X, Y, and Z. And I could easily lift that from my experience and put it into this voice role. For those towards the end of your career, the path view helps you the most because you have the strongest evidence of delivery and keeping up with new technologies. Let's take a look at an example of a career path for a Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer in Enterprise Voice AI and IoT. You might have started in business intelligence as an analyst, moved up consulting in IT, then were in a role in corporate strategy and development before moving on to be a managing director in digital and big data. The rapid advances within the past 10 to 15 years have forced you to upskill and keep up, making you easily adaptable and knowledgeable on the latest technologies. That thread culminates into the biggest leverage of being able to apply your experience into a new role and be successful. Your dream job is the very next one. Using your analysis of your own path thus far and your networks, you can easily find the job that makes the most sense and they can use all of your skills. In preparation for a voice-specific role, taking a course in the specialization will only boost your chances of making the switch. You can showcase that you'll be quick and flexible to make the best decisions possible as a leader. If you're interviewing or you're looking for a way into the next position, look at a position that is very close to the one you're in now, and then see if you can move laterally and then move up, because that will get your foot in the door before you can actually continue with your career in voice. And then the last part is to write your own job description. How many of you have seen a job description that lists you need 15 plus years of experience and all of these skills and have had all of these responsibilities? And it's kind of like they're asking for a super professional that doesn't really exist. Rarely. Well, unfortunately, that's what you have to deal with. And it's really hard to gauge whether you're actually qualified for that position or whether you're not. So if you have a chance to write a cover letter or to interview with someone or to present yourself in a way that's not in an automated click the button to submit application, write your own job description. Rewrite it. You can get an idea of what they're looking for, the projects, whether it's working on a new voice project or offering support, whatever area, you can use that and then rewrite in the cover letter how you're qualified to accomplish what they want you to accomplish. And also sprinkle that into your resume. Make sure you're not only using the right keywords, but use the experiences that they are looking for in order to fulfill this task, this project, whatever it might be. And use it in your own language too. Whereas if they ask for a specific skill or specific experience related to voice and you don't have it, but you think, well, that's similar to this project that I worked on where I was still able to accomplish this similar goal, then definitely use that and say, if I could do it here, then I can do it in voice. Obviously, they're counting on you to be able to come up to speed, but that's what you're doing. You're changing and you're pivoting into the industry and you're saying, I could do it elsewhere, so I can do it here. Find the top 3 skills that you need in those jobs that will lead to that top job. And again, this is going to come from the people that you have researched on LinkedIn or other platforms, and maybe some own research that you have done on Glassdoor or other platforms. So find the skills that you need. And again, top 3. I wouldn't even say top 2 because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Do some online learning. Evaluate how much time commitment you have. Research all of the course offerings from the platforms that I've mentioned. There's Coursera, there's edX, there's Udacity, so many others that you can use with very diverse offerings that you could take advantage of and start getting up to speed. Again, as soon as you have those courses and you can work on a project and show that you know something, that is going to benefit your resume and your presentation as a voice technologist yourself. Finish the online course. Note, finish it, because I'm even guilty of starting online courses and not finishing it. But if you can't do a 3-month or a 1-month, just do maybe a 1 week. Do something. And then that will encourage you to complete longer and longer courses. And then you're able to leverage those new skills for the new job. One of the other pieces of advice that I would give is to work on mini projects on the side. So maybe you started a course or you have some skills and you're looking to develop it so you're able to showcase it as you interview around. Build an assistant skill, build an app, build a service, build an API, build something. It could be so rudimentary, it doesn't matter. As long as you're working on it and as long as you have a portfolio at the end of the day, you can use that and you can link it to your GitHub as well when you go interview around. If you're not as technical, maybe create a marketing project for a new voice product, or completely redo someone else's project, a big brand, a small brand, whatever company you want to work for, redo their entire project, their entire presence or app, whatever it is, and put your own spin on it. And that'll really make the interviewers think that A, you have great ideas, and B, you're capable of executing on them. And that will give you a bigger foot in the door. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found this information useful. The resources at the end will help you keep up to date on what we're up to when we're finally ready to go live, and how you can stay up to date on the latest tips to manage your career, especially in voice. Good luck!